Now that reefer madness craze is hitting Texas hard, and we're gonna roll straight up into that. But as lots of folks fear that THC ban is incoming, they're stocking up, stores are selling out, and products are literally flying off shelves.
Tonight, local THC shops have products selling off the shelves in anticipation of Governor Abbott's signature on a THC ban. The THC ban, known as Senate Bill 3, would outlaw all consumable THC products. 6 News anchor Adriana Alexander has more on how local shops are bracing for impact. Adriana.
Well, there's less than 20 days left before Abbott can sign off on the bill or veto it. If he does neither, the ban will still become law. This is what business owners don't want, but the wait has left them and their customers in limbo. The future of the THC ban in Texas remains unclear.
SB 3 is not going to be a good thing.
Texas legislators recently signed off on Senate Bill 3, which bans the use of all THC products. This includes THC vapes, edibles, and gummies.
People are making their voices heard, and it's pretty clear what we're wanting, and we're respectfully asking Governor Abbott to veto.
They're all pretty close.
Local shops that specialize in THC have been getting more and more calls about buying in bulk.
They are using this for a medicinal reason. They're really worried that they're going to lose it. And so they're just trying to stock up and grab as much as they can.
And with the fate of the bill still unknown, it leaves businesses left to decide whether to restock their products or sell everything they have.
They have been buying things up. I was going to let my inventory kind of dwindle down over the next couple months if it passed, but I'm going to have to keep adding to it.
Christy McGoy, the co-owner of Redbird Hemp Dispensary in Temple, is collecting signatures to call for an immediate veto of this ban.
We have a deal going in store currently. If you contact Governor Abbott by sending a petition or signing the petition and sending an electronic letter, we're giving 10% off your entire purchase in store. We're doing that until he makes up his mind.
Their hope is that their businesses will not have to close their doors for good.
And it didn't work in the 20s or 30s with the alcohol, which is something I would get behind, probably easing up on that, but this stuff is helping people out.
Now, if Governor Abbott signs Senate Bill 3, possessing hemp-derived THC products would become a Class C misdemeanor, carrying up to a year in jail, a $4,000 fine, or both. It's the harshest misdemeanor charge in Texas, so Bailey, we'll see where things go.
And we've also been following that closely, and as we said in our last episode, it all comes down to Governor Abbott. Is he going to sign it or is he going to veto it? And it seems pretty obvious, you guys would probably think. At this point, a lot of people have sent tons of boxes of signatures to his office asking him to veto it and reject that ban. But on the flip side, there are a lot of people calling for him to sign that bill into law and to enforce that THC ban. So what we're going to do is have a look at some of those folks who actually support the ban, hear what they have to say, and why they're calling on Governor Abbott to actually sign that bill into law. So as you guys can see, there are tons of folks up here who are actually coming to this press conference to call on Governor Abbott to sign this bill. It looks like a ton of older folks, maybe 1 or 2 middle-aged folks sprinkled in there, but it really looks like a lot of older folks. And they really come prepared with all of their presentations, their billboards and everything, and even sometimes they come with nicotine products. And a lot of you guys noticed that on the last episode, but we won't get into that. Let's hear what they have to say.
So thank you all for joining us today to discuss this important bill, SB 3, introduced by the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and Senator Charles Perry. We want to thank the legislative body of Texas for the overwhelming bipartisan support of this bill. We urge Governor Abbott to sign SB 3 into law to protect Texas families from further harm. I am Aubrey Adams, the director of Citizens for a Safe and Healthy Texas. I come from Pueblo, Colorado, which is the forefront of the marijuana expansion movement. I originally brought my son to Texas to help him recover from his addiction to THC and experiencing symptoms of psychosis and severe GI issues. After achieving 3 years of sobriety, he unfortunately encountered similar problems again due to the Texas products of THC here. Let me be clear. Senate Bill 3 does not ban hemp. It prohibits the manufacture, the sale of hemp-derived THC and its analogs, such as Delta-8 THC, which are synthetically produced by CBD. This bill is a correction bill to get rid of the poison that is synthetic THC. These poisonous products are illegal in the states of Colorado and California, but their states allow their hemp industry to manufacture them and sell them to Texans to poison them. This drug operation is an all-out assault on Texas families and schools. Families in Texas cannot compete with over 8,000 retailers selling drug-infused candies, vapes, and other deceptive products that resemble everyday foods and drinks in our neighborhoods and around schools. Texas THC products are deliberately designed to target young people and hide their use from parents and from schools. These products are intentionally masked with sugary flavors to conceal their toxic tastes. The hemp advocates must refrain from calling synthetic THC medicine and safe for adults to use. My son is an adult, and their products have destroyed his mental and physical health. He was just attempting suicide the other week. Many families are seeking lawsuits against individuals and hemp businesses who impersonate medical professionals and sell these products under false claims. This establishment in Odessa, Texas, is not selling medicine. THC in any form can cause episodes of psychosis, and psychosis is when a person experiences paranoia, delusions, and hallucinations. Psychosis is a state of suffering. It's where an increased risk of a person has in harming themselves and others. In Houston, a teen just shot his mother and sister after having bad emotions from THC edibles. We are sick and tired of the hemp industry stating no one dies from THC. Texas and the federal government does not track THC-related deaths. Most coroners do not test for THC in suicides and with perpetrators who commit homicides.
Okay. I just gotta pause because we gotta talk about some of these stuff that's going on right here. A lot of these people who have these instances of quote-unquote psychosis, which seems to me to be a new word which has recently come about that people are using to describe anyone who I guess is high or suffers from paranoia. A lot of people get a little paranoid when you're high. I mean, that's pretty normal. You also eat tons of food, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is the fact that a lot of people are lumping a lot of different effects from a lot of different drugs that people are doing into the good herb. Now, there's no proof that that person was only using the good herb, but a lot of people do suggest that they were using other types of drugs. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not saying that that is the case, but I'm saying it is a possibility. But let's keep it rolling.
The public should know an extensive study published in the National Institute of Health concluded 47% of people who experience cannabis-induced psychosis will convert to chronic psychiatric disorders such as schizophrenia. This is not reefer madness. This is reefer science.
It's reefer science, guys.
This is a significant factor in the increase of homelessness and crime in Texas. Additionally, these products are toxic. Many people are experiencing CHS, cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome.
Are you guys just coming out with new
and painful condition
acronyms every day?
Dehydration, organ failure, seizures, and death. And no, THC is not safer than alcohol. When a person is at a toxic level of alcohol, they can usually vomit it out and achieve homeostasis because it's a water-soluble drug. When a person is at toxic levels of THC, they can't necessarily vomit it out because it's a fat-soluble drug that adheres to the fats in our bodies. Texans don't want their tax money to enable this
That's the
industry.
craziest thing I've ever heard,
They
guys.
don't
Alcohol
want
is
to grow
safer
the
than
government
THC.
trying to manage
Go ahead and drink your
a
lives away, guys.
regulation-resistant industry. In Colorado, it was practically impossible to get more regulations on THC products. Over 50 organizations advocated to get a potency cap on our THC products, and it failed. Later in this press conference, you are going to hear from families that have been devastated by Texas hemp-derived THC. It is very difficult to speak publicly about how THC has harmed our families. The hemp organizations and advocates bully and harass us. For example,
Sure.
they posted a picture of one of my former residents on social media, and they call me horrible names.
That's
And back
ridiculous.
in 2019, when I started educating Texans about the true impacts of THC, Texas Cannabis Collective sent their pot army to censor my voice on Facebook.
Their pot army to censor your voice on Facebook. You mean like what big tech does to cannabis creators every single day of life? Like, what are you even talking about, lady? My God.
They scream that this is about
Sorry about
freedom
the
to
quality,
use,
guys. This is from the
but they sure don't care
source.
about
It's not
the
me.
freedom of speech or allowing the public to be informed about the risks of consuming THC. They continue to deny the risk and blame and shame the families, and then harm us into silence.
Harm
asked
us
them
into
this.
silence. Oh my.
Where is the freedom of the people hospitalized from cannabis psychosis? Where is the freedom of the mother and the daughter that were shot by the son in Houston?
Where's the freedom of everyone who drinks and drives
And why?
and kills
is the
people?
media
Where's the
not
freedom for those people?
demanding
Why are we still selling out? Where's the
toxicology
freedom for all
reports
those people stuck
from
on
Yuval
opiates? Where's the
Shooter
people for
and making
freedom?
sure his
Come
tissue
on.
was tested for THC?
Jesus.
I am also tired of the whining and complaining from the hemp industry that they will lose jobs. They chose an industry that sells poison. It's a poor business decision, and they are capable of getting other jobs in Texas' booming economy.
Wow,
I
you
lost
sound
my
heartless
dreams
as
out
hell,
during
lady.
my son's addiction and psychosis.
Why don't you go lose your
It
job?
wasn't safe for him to be home with my younger son.
Learn to
so I had
code.
to be present to make sure everybody was safe. We also ended up losing all our equity to pay for my son's treatment. In time, I recovered. I got other jobs. So they are capable of getting other jobs too. And I'm tired of them acting like they can't. If the hemp industry successfully pressures Governor Abbott into vetoing SB 3, we will have thousands more families harmed. The drug and mental illness crisis will increase, and we will all pay the price. Next, I would like to bring up Dr. Rossheim.
Oh, a doctor's up next, guys. The person who prescribes the opiates and opioids, who obviously hates the hemp industry.
everyone.
Let's hear what
My
he's
name's
got to
Dr.
say.
Matthew Rossheim. I'm
Come
an
on,
associate
Doc.
Professor at a university in Texas, and I also serve as scientific advisor for Texans for Safe and Drug-Free Youth.
Oh, okay.
I've
Sounds about
authored
right.
More than 100 peer-reviewed research manuscripts.
Okay, Doc.
And in recognition of this work, I've been awarded by I've been awarded the 2025 Advocate of the Year Award by CADCA, the largest substance use prevention NGO in the United States, representing more than 7,000 community coalitions, including 100
So what are you guys
coalitions
doing
in
about
Texas.
fentanyl?
So for the last 17
Killing
years,
people
I've studied
faster than
the
anything
marketing,
that I can even think
regulation,
of.
Use and health impacts of intoxicating substances. My research has consistently shown how certain industries exploit laws to sell harmful products. But in 17 years, I've never seen such highly potent, dangerous, and illegal substances being sold so openly and widely as they are in Texas today.
It's federally legal, though.
The industry asks us to imagine how
Anything
dangerous
under
things might become
0.3%
if
is
marijuana were
federally
sold
legal.
illegally in Texas. But we don't have to use our imaginations, because that's exactly what's happening today. Right now, the so-called hemp industry is selling extremely potent, synthetic, and often illegal marijuana products throughout the state. Current laws make it nearly impossible for law enforcement or even consumers to know which products are legal and which are not. and the distinctions that do exist are largely meaningless when it comes to protecting community health and safety. I'd like to take a moment to address a few inaccurate claims that are made today by the psychoactive hemp industry and provide some facts to refute these claims.
The psychoactive hemp
First,
industry.
I'd like
wow.
to address the aspect of farmers in Senate Bill 3. Senate Bill 3 specifically addresses health and safety code in the Texas Constitution and has nothing to do with agriculture code. There's nothing in Senate Bill 3 that applies to farmers, and the farmers in Texas will be able to continue to farm hemp this year at the same as they were, and next year the same as they
We
were
spoke
this year
about
and
this
the year
already.
before.
He's talking about
I'd
biomass
also like
hemp,
to remind
stuff for
everyone here that
textiles,
under
ropes,
current
stuff like
Texas
that.
law,
People are not
Section
concerned about that.
443,
They're concerned about their
subsection 204,
meds.
The processing or manufacturing
Biomass
of a
hemp is a
product
non-flowering
for
part of the
smoking
plant.
is illegal in Texas under current law. So any farmers that are saying that they're growing hemp for smoking purposes are doing so unlawfully.
There are 1,000
according to the
different
current
ways that you
law.
can consume the good herb
I'd
without
also like to
smoking
note
it.
that the
A lot
state
of people who
Texas
actually have health
currently has
conditions don't also
approximately
just smoke it.
125
They may have to consume through
million
edibles, tinctures. There are lots of different ways. Topicals, lotions, like the list goes on. Come on, guy. You're a doctor. Come on, guy.
acres of farm and ranch land today, and information requests filed with the Texas Department of Agriculture show that only 181 acres of hemp were harvested and tested in Texas last year. This is information that's legally required to be reported to the Texas Department of Agriculture. So only about 1/1,000,000th of the total farm and ranch land in Texas. The idea that SB3 will cause drastic damage to the Texas farming industry is a fake narrative pushed by the hemp industry.
Your entire story is a fake
Another common
narrative,
claim by the
bro.
hemp industry is that SB3
You
will
and
hurt
all your
small
fam behind
businesses,
you are fake
and that It's only a
narratives.
few bad actors that are likely responsible for illegal activity. To test this, in April
Sorry
of this
about the
year,
quality,
I
guys. Again,
identified
it's
and
the sauce.
surveyed the largest hemp retail chains in the state of Texas to analyze their products and practices. My research clearly disproved this claim and showed that the largest hemp retailers in Texas are, in fact, some of the largest purveyors today of illicit products in the state of Texas, and 35% of them were within 1,000 feet of a school.
I need some more details on what are these quote-unquote illicit products. Like, what exactly are we talking about here? Are we talking about THCA, Delta 8, Delta 9, like CBD? What exactly are we talking about in terms of these illicit products? Sounds like a banana, an umbrella term that you guys are just throwing everything under, and a banana skin to slip people up with. Like, come on, try again.
All the major retailers that I visited were selling products containing at least 100 times the amount of THC legally allowed in states that have fully legalized recreational marijuana, such as California and Colorado.
100.
These extremely high-potency products often also include synthetic THC variants like THCP, which are often marketed as being 33 times more potent than naturally grown cannabis. All the stores that I visited also sold products that contained at least 90% THC, dramatically increasing the risks for serious mental health issues like psychosis, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, and addiction. These products are not only potent, they're designed to appeal to young people. Brightly colored packaging, cartoon characters, and imitations of popular snack brands substantially increase the risk of accidental ingestion by kids. From 2017 to 2022, Texas Poison Control Centers reported nearly a 500% increase in cannabis-related calls for children 5 years and younger. As you can see here in this image, these retailers sell many dangerous products, substances even beyond marijuana, including hallucinogenic mushrooms, inhalants like nitrous oxide and nitrate poppers, high-potency synthetic kratom products that interact with opioid receptors, some in the form of flavored ice cream cones.
Yeah, but on that point, a lot of those things are not necessarily specifically addressed in this bill. You guys are literally going after THC. So that's something that a lot of people complained about in the comments in the last episode. Why are you guys not going after these nitrous oxide folks and all those other types of stuff? Because in reality, that's probably something you guys should be focusing on as well. But not only that, guys, also the fact that some of these products are getting into the hands of kids that are 5 years old. Oh, that's absolutely crazy. crazy. Those are some irresponsible parents if that's the case. It's not like those 5-year-olds are going out to the store and purchasing these products. It's probably that the parents had them at home, they were irresponsible, left them about, and their kids got their hands on it. It's simple stuff. Would the parents leave prescription pills on the table where the kids can get their hands on it? They should be taking care of it just like anything else that they want to keep out of the hands of their own kids. So that to me comes down to parenting. But let's hear what Dr. Gotcha says.
And even tianeptine, commonly known as gas station heroin. Many of these products are packaged and marketed in ways that make them both appealing and accessible to young people. Despite clear prohibitions under federal and state laws, these products are openly sold and deceptively marketed. These are not medicine nor wellness products. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration warns consumers to not use any of these. And it's not just a handful of bad actors. The largest retail chains in Texas, which set the standard for the industry, routinely disregard the law and jeopardize the health and safety of our communities. While many of these products sold by these stores are clearly illegal, even more deliberately exploit legal gray area, making enforcement extremely challenging. In public statements, Governor Abbott has explicitly reiterated that marijuana remains illegal in Texas. As stated in his letter signed by Lieutenant Governor Patrick and Speaker Bonin in 2019 upon signing House Bill 1325, quote, marijuana has not been decriminalized in Texas. Criminals should be on notice that they may continue to be prosecuted for possession of marijuana and may now be prosecuted for illegal possession of hemp without a proper certificate. Yet, due to the industry's exploitation of legal ambiguities, marijuana products are sold openly in our communities, putting everyone, particularly our youth, in serious danger.
Yeah, but who writes
Senate
these
Bill
laws
3
with these
directly
quote-unquote
addresses these
legal
issues
ambiguities?
by clearly
You guys,
defining what is legal
the
and
legislator,
providing law enforcement with the tools that they
local,
need
state
to
government.
effectively enforce the law. We respectfully urge Governor Abbott
You
to
guys are
sign
writing
Senate
laws
Bill
and have
3
no
into
idea
law.
about the topic
Governor
that you guys
Abbott,
are writing laws
your
on. That's the
decisive action
problem.
on Senate Bill 3 will help ensure
Talking
the
about
health,
legal
safety, and
ambiguities.
future of all Texans. We deeply appreciate your courageous leadership on this critical health issue. Thank you.
All right, doctor, get out of here. Someone get him out of here. Get him out of here. Let's see who's up next. Let's see who's up next.
Dr. Rossheim, and now I am honored to bring up Representative David Lowe.
Oh, this is the one veteran, I think, who speaks
Good
on
afternoon.
behalf of himself
As
and
a
no
veteran
one else.
who struggled with combat-related PTSD, I've lived through the struggle.
Because there was
every
another veteran that
doctor and
debunked
every
this guy
counselor
quick time and said
I
he speaks
worked
on
with,
behalf of over
military and
60,000
civilian,
vets.
gave me the same urgent advice: stay away from THC.
And he's a
It
representative.
doesn't heal. It numbs the symptoms, gives false comfort, and delays the real work of recovery. That's why I'm deeply troubled that veterans are being used as props to push unregulated THC. We must stop exploiting veterans' pain to promote products that aren't proven, aren't regulated, and in many cases aren't safe. Veterans deserve treatment rooted in truth, not marketing. Now the data is catching up. THC-related injuries are skyrocketing. And the more I've learned about the side effects of recreational THC, the more disappointed and frankly alarmed I've become at how little regulation exists in Texas today. There may be legitimate uses for some hemp products, but we cannot
Well,
pretend
regulate it. Don't ban it then.
that this unregulated flood of intoxicating substances is safe. It's not. It's reaching children and young
No, it's
adults.
not safe, that
It's being
bow tie.
marketed in slick packaging
you for your
with
service,
no
sir.
guardrails, no accountability, no concern for the long-term consequences. Some have accused me of being a shill for Big Pharma. Let me be clear. I have serious ethical issues with Big Pharma. In 2024, a few of my colleagues and I signed a pledge to not accept a single dime from pharmaceutical companies. And I still stand by that pledge today. My support for SB 3 has nothing to do with pharmaceutical companies and has.
So he's doing that, but he's pushing everyone away from a lot of these hemp-derived consumables that people get relief from and pushing them to Big Pharma. Because that's the only alternative here for a lot of these folks. They're going to have to go to Big Pharma. And how is that going to work out?
It's everything to do with protecting Texas families. I believe passing Senate Bill 3 is one of the greatest accomplishments of this legislative session. And I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick for his strong, steady leadership when it mattered most. Because of that, Texas is safer today. God bless Texas.
God bless Texas. I hope you guys veto that bill.
Good afternoon. I'm Nicole Holt. I'm CEO of Texans for Safe and Drug-Free Youth, the statewide nonprofit focused on preventing
one of those
youth
nonprofits
substance
that get
use
kickbacks.
by using evidence-based prevention
Okay.
strategies that create healthier and safer communities. SB 3
Okay, ma'am.
protects Texas youth. Research tells us that when product access increases, use also increases. In our state, there is unprecedented access to intoxicating cannabis and cannabis-derived products with no limitations on products themselves or their marketing strategies. For the past several years, our coalition members have been collecting images of the products. No matter where you go in this state, these products
They've been doing
are
recon.
everywhere.
They've
In
been
addition
doing
to vape
recon.
stores, these products are in kiosks,
Investigative
in
work.
malls, next to kid zones. They're in vending machines, in practically every gas station
Regulated.
and convenience store. I have watched folks claim recently in public forums that cannabis use is safe, that no one dies from cannabis use, but that simply isn't true. The evidence is clear.
It should be somewhere that
13%
requires
of
ID.
Texas middle and high school
Regulate
students
it.
report using cannabis, and 1 in 4 high school seniors are using the drug.
Ask them how much they drink.
You'll hear people here
Do a
today
survey about
discuss
how
the
many kids
dangers
drink.
of early cannabis use and its long-term consequences, increasing the risk of addiction, harming brain development, and contributing to mental health issues such as depression and psychosis. What you never hear people
that's the
discussing
buzzword,
is the
psychosis.
impaired driving consequences resulting from use of these intoxicating products. In Texas, while alcohol remains the leading cause of fatal crashes, alcohol combined with cannabis is the second most common cause of deadly
Bruh.
impaired driving
Oh
crashes in
my.
our
And
state.
what is the psychoactive component in that?
combination of
It's more
alcohol and
likely the
cannabis is
alcohol
the
that's
most
causing you
common
to
drug
get completely
combination in
sloshed.
impaired driving crashes
So
in our
ladies,
state as
again,
well.
bunching different
And
shits
young
into
drivers
one.
are
I
particularly
cannot
at
deal with
risk.
it.
26% of crash fatalities among those 25 and younger involve both cannabis and alcohol. Those are real lives. Those deaths are someone's life ended too soon. Those families will never be the same. And when there's an impaired driver on the road, we are all at risk. Parents, teachers, law enforcement,
Alcoholics and
community
drunks
leaders
kill
are all
folks
saying
every
the
day on
same
the
thing.
roads.
These products should not be easy for kids to get and need to be removed from Texas shelves. I encourage the governor to sign SB 3
THC
into
lasts in the
law
body
to
quite
keep
long,
our
so if you
children
test them, it
and
may
communities
still
safe.
have THC in them. It's all skewed. All these stats are skewed. I can pick holes in everyone's argument. Oh, this is the lady in blue. You guys remember her. Let's hear what she had to say. It's just crazy how she comes up super unfrazzled, looks like really emotional, trying to pull on your heartstrings. Check it out. Let's hear her.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine. Until 2 years ago, I knew nothing about THC.
So why are you up
Then
here?
we got the phone call that changed everything. My son did not start using THC until after college graduation at the age of 22, a full-grown adult. Within 8 months, he was using every day and was addicted. He had no previous mental health concerns. THC products in all forms today are addictive and causing symptoms of psychosis, including delusions, paranoia, and auditory and visual hallucinations. Long-term, which means 1 year or more, heavy, which means 3 times a week or more, use of THC increases both anxiety and depression.
She sounds so scripted.
The industry does not tell you that when you will build up a tolerance and your brain will crave greater quantities, more often, or at increased potency. Anxiety and depression are 2 of the very conditions that THC is touted as being beneficial for. It simply is not. What it is beneficial for is lining the pocketbooks of the intoxicating hemp industry. This is an addiction for profit industry that has no concern for the negative consequences of its products. Most of the individuals who are being diagnosed with cannabis-induced psychotic disorder had no previous mental health conditions. When the industry tells you otherwise, it is just another piece of their incorrect rhetoric that they are weaving into the very fabric of our society.
You are weaving some
They use
incorrect
terms
rhetoric
like
right now, lady.
finding relief, God's medicine, all natural. These products are anything but natural.
It's a
They are
plant.
highly
It just
potent,
grows like that.
addictive, and causing devastating symptoms and outcomes for thousands,
Synthetics,
including my
we're
loved
not talking
one.
about those, though.
In 2023, 19.2 million people had a cannabis use disorder. That number driven by these THC products. This spring, on walks in my neighborhood, I found 3 empty vape cartridge packages. This bag contains
She's
those,
such a Karen.
plus
She
one
picks
I found
them
in my
up
son's car,
to collect
and 2 that
them.
I purchased to get an idea of just what was out there. These products are from 60 to 80%, over 80% potency of THC. Their wrappers are littering our neighborhoods, and their contents are addicting millions of people. Most people who use them do not even realize they have a substance use disorder. The industry is following the playbook of big tobacco. Cigarettes were called nicotine delivery devices. These vapes can be called THC delivery devices, and I call them addiction
Comparing
delivery
nicotine
devices.
to THC is absolutely
We do not
crazy.
need to wait 50
Comparing
years
cigarettes to herb
before
is
we
wild.
announce to the public that these products are harmful. I call on our national government to produce a high-profile public awareness campaign spelling out the harms of THC. We and you need to do that now.
Who handed this lady
We
the
do not
script?
need more addiction delivery
Right before
devices
she
in
stepped up
Texas.
here.
We have enough of them already. It is truly unbelievable
Someone come and get
that
your
we
mom.
are having to
Your
fight
granny.
to ban products that often and easily induce psychosis for thousands. Methamphetamine used to lead the way as the drug that induced psychosis the most. Meth has been replaced by
guess.
THC,
THC
as
is
the
the
drug
new meth,
leading
right?
to psychosis most often. Would the governor, our legislators, or our general public be fine with smoke shops and gas stations selling meth to people of all ages?
Oh my God, guys. THC is the new, according to this lady anyway. You hearing that comparison, guys? Would you guys be comfortable with gas stations selling meth? But that's what they're doing right now. Oh my word.
Ages? No. The governor, our legislators,
Wow.
or our general public be fine with smoke shops and gas stations selling meth to people of all ages? No. If the federal government cannot close the loophole it created with the 2018 Farm Bill, then Texas will close its own loophole. I ask Governor Abbott to stop this literal insanity and to do what is right by supporting SB 3 to save Texans' brains and their futures. Texans' brains are worth infinitely more than any amount of tax revenue the intoxicating hemp industry can provide. I've got a lot more to say. I know I need to leave time for other people. I just wanted
Yeah,
to say,
please get out of here.
this is the hemp that we thought we were producing, a dime bag's backpack. This is what we got. Okay, that's what our legislators accidentally legalized. I would invite you to learn more about THC, be a lifesaver, and go to these websites. I've got information and products up here for you
She's
to
an
come talk to me
activist,
about,
bro.
and I
A
appreciate your
straight
time
up
today.
lobbying
Thank you.
activist. That's what you are, lady. A straight up lobbying activist. It's using any type of excuse you can use
Good
to rally
afternoon.
against the good
My
herb.
name is Maddie Cruz.
Usually personal
I want to
stories
thank
and
our
emotional
legislators for
pull
tireless
strings.
working
Good
much
Lord.
needed
Let's hear what this
SB3
lady's got to say. Modern
you
day
also
reefer
to the
madness, guys.
doctors
Modern day reefer madness,
who have
2025.
shared their research and knowledge. But most of all, I want to thank my friends in this group, a group I never imagined I'll be part of. These women right here are the real heroes.
And they feed
Let
off
me
of
say
each
it
other. They feed off of them.
These women right here are the real heroes.
Okay, lady. Please
Despite
continue.
everything they have been through, they continue to share their heartbreaking stories to prevent other families from going through the same pain. Most of their children were over 21 years when they started using THC products. My son used to do freelance camera work for political, corporate, and church events. His schedule often changed, so he thought hemp-derived
This is
THC
exactly what they
gummies
do,
would
right?
be a
Come with
better
these
option
stories,
to
these
help
sad
him sleep
sob stories,
than
boohoo,
medicines.
whine and crying. Like,
He was 25.
he's a big man. He could
was
make
a
his own
healthy,
decisions.
kind,
He's
and
25.
productive, with a successful career ahead of him.
So what
He had
happened? Let's
never
hear.
shown any sign of mental illness, and there's no history of it in our family. Over time, he began using other products like cookies, lollipops, and vapes. What began as an occasional use gradually turned into dependency. Even though he was still productive, his behavior started to change. Then, at age 27, he had a
27.
full psychotic break.
A full psychotic break.
He lacks awareness of his illness because he's an adult.
What is
and
this
is
psychotic
now
break?
considered
Like, you gave us
harmful
all
or
these
dangerous
details
to
up to this point. What's the full psychotic break? Is it that he tripped out one day and just got really mad and threw stuff around the room? Like, a lot of people do that shit. That's just normal shit. You can't blame the herb for that. I mean, come on. Anyway, let's hear what she has to say.
himself or others.
Let's give her the benefit
We
of
have
the doubt.
been unable to get him the dual treatment he needs.
Just glossed over that
Treatment
psychotic
that will
episode
cost
at
us
28
about
or whatever, right?
$25,000 a month. After a year without THC products, he was
Wait,
beginning
25,000 a month for what?
will cost us about 20 treatment he needs. Treatment that will cost us about $25,000 a month. After a year without THC products, he was beginning to improve. Sadly, he relapsed with a vape, still believing it will help him stay alert.
Alert?
This particular THCP, as mentioned before, is a kind of vape to be up to 33 times more potent than regular THC. Within days, strong and new psychotic symptoms started to appear. THC-induced psychosis is real. It can happen to people with no history of mental illness. People using these products are gambling with their health, assuming that if something is legal, it must be safe. Any profits the industry claims to bring to the state are minimal compared to the harm and financial burden to our families. Our son is fully dependent on our help and is struggling with hallucinations and impaired cognition. It is difficult to run our business now, and we are using our retirement funds to support him and cover up our living expenses. It has been 2 heartbreaking years for the whole family. All of this could have been prevented. I respectfully urge Governor Abbott to sign SB 3 into law. This bill is long overdue. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so let's have a quick look and see exactly what she was talking about in terms of the THCP and THCA stuff,
Good
right?
afternoon.
So let's have a look at this real quick. THCP, is it synthetic? THCP is a natural compound found in trace amounts. While it's a naturally occurring compound, it's often associated with synthetic processes due to its similarities with THC. It was first identified as a natural product in 2019, isolated from cannabis sativa. It has a synthetic connection here, they're saying, because THCP is structurally similar to delta-9 THC, the primary psychoactive compound in the good herb, but with a longer side chain leading to its historical perception as a synthetic homologue. Now, I also tried to just do a little bit of comparison between THC versus THCA, just did a little bit of a Google search, and the AI overview suggests that they're both cannabinoids found in the plant, but they have key differences in terms of potency and effects. The potency of THCP is considered to be significantly higher. Studies suggest up to 33 times more potent in terms of binding to the CB1 receptor, which is responsible for psychoactive effects. Now, some of these stuff you may or may not know where these sources are from. This is just the AI overview. Now, the chemical structure, we sort of discussed that before. While both of them occur naturally in the plant, THCP is found in very trace amounts, less than 0.1%, whereas THC is obviously much more abundant. And it goes on to say that THC, you know the feelings of those, but the effects of THCP are more similar to THC, but due to its higher potency, they may be more intense and potentially last prolonging. Users have described it as having a psychedelic-like effect, amplifying sounds and colors, and there are a few more considerations. So again, those are what people are talking about in some of these instances as well, and I think that that's a distinction that needs to be drawn. But rather than drawing that distinction, what they're trying to do is just bunch everything all together. But let's go on, because there are some more people who had stuff to say, so let's hear what they have to say.
I'm a Houston citizen, and I have a son who is diagnosed with cannabis-induced psychosis. He is now 24, will be 25 soon, and this industry has paralyzed his brain. He went off to college, started right here in Texas, and started using marijuana occasionally for mild anxiety. He came home his sophomore year during Christmas, and he and friends hung out every day using products from the local vape store around the corner, different things, edibles, vape pens, until he became psychotic. Took him to a hospital, and the only thing that was in his system was THC.
So was it THC, THCP, THCA? Like, what are we talking about
here?
Not knowing
how
at this point, it seems like everyone's just confused.
To the point where an addiction can happen, to the point where continued use of the product would continue to bring him back to a psychotic state. I didn't know. The education wasn't there. Once understanding and realizing what this drug was doing to my son, tried to get him into a dual diagnosis program. But guess what? They don't treat THC addiction. They treat alcohol addiction. They treat opioid addiction, but not THC. So he was not accepted. Insurance wouldn't pay for it. Found a program out of state.
More of these stories that really try to pull at your heartstrings, guys.
$5,000.
With no serious concrete proof behind them.
Who can afford that?
I haven't seen no doctor's reports from that other lady who was claiming THCP caused all these crazy stuff. And
he still thinks marijuana is okay because of that state that he was brought to. The passage of the 2018 Farm Bill has led to the misperception that all products made from or containing hemp, including those made with CBD, are now legal to sell through interstate commerce, through online, and in storefronts. The storefronts here in Houston alone are multiplying. Just from the time that I came and testified a few months ago, there's a new one that's opened up around the corner from me. These are within blocks of each other. Why do we need so much? We don't. These aren't health centers. These are hell centers.
They're high in demand, supply and demand. The people want it. It's obvious.
We as Texans have to stop putting revenue over reality. The reality that these synthetic cannabinoids are causing serious physical and mental health conditions. We ask that the governor stand by the vote of the House and Senate and sign SB 3 into law. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you to all these families. Before we bring more families up, I'm going to make a kind request to the gentleman that's here from the hemp industry. We respect you. We're not coming after you. We need you to quit smirking and imitating these families right now. It's very difficult for them to be here today from the harassment they've already endured and the bullying. So I'm going to kindly ask you if you could please exit the room so we can continue our press conference. You can access these videos. They will be on social media. And I'm really, we really want them to be able to speak the truth. The public deserves to know the truth. Thank you. I would appreciate it if you would quit smirking. You are free to be here. I'm kindly asking you to stop smirking and intimidating the families.
Wow. 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 Let's have a look at that again. Well, that escalated quickly, guys. These people are upset.
Make a kind request
3 into
to the gentleman that's here from the hemp industry. We respect you. We're not coming after you. We need you to quit smirking and imitating these families right now. It's very difficult for them to be here today from the harassment they've already endured and the bullying. So I'm going to kindly ask you if you could please exit the room so we can continue our press conference.
Wow,
you can
he got
access
kicked
these
out.
videos. They will be on social media.
They kicked the hemp
And
industry
I'm
guy
really,
out
You know, we really want them to be able to speak the truth. The public deserves
because
to know
he's
the truth.
just
Thank
shaking
you.
his head,
I
probably
appreciate it if you
smirking.
quit smirking. You are free to
Smirking.
be here. I'm kindly
You're
asking
not
you
allowed to
stop
smirk.
smirking and intimidating. the
Intimidating by smirking, by looking at him and smirking. You're intimidating. Wow, 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 we guys. Absolutely crazy. Wild scenes right now. Let's hear what this lady's got to say.
Hi, my name's Dee Dee. I'm
Dee
a
Dee?
business owner, a wife, a mother, and for the past 3 years, our family has endured imaginable pain. Our son started
You always start
vaping
off with
Delta
these
8s, Delta
things,
9s,
pain.
THC in college, and what began as harmless habit quickly spiraled into a mental health crisis. He became paranoid, delusional, and convinced that the CIA and the Illuminati were following him. He dropped out of school. His condition completely unraveled. We went through ER visits, psychiatric hospitals, 4 treatment centers, all costing thousands of dollars.
Sounds
and
like you
even
need to
out-of-state
monitor what your child's
rehabilitation
watching
centers
online.
because of the lack of
These
medical
conspiracy theories can
knowledge
take you
here
down some
in
rabbit
Texas.
holes. That's how
Each giving
people
us
end up with
different answers,
manifestos,
but
bro.
never a lasting solution. In
Can't
March
blame
of
that shit on the weed.
2024, after a suicide attempt, he was finally hospitalized and given a genetic test that revealed which medication, after trials of different medications, would work best with him. This medication has us doing weekly blood work that has to go up to the REM system and getting weekly amounts of pills from different pharmacies who can fill it. And this is his prolonged psychotic episode has turned into severe chronic mental illness. Today, he not only lives with this debilitating condition, also major side effects from the medication, hypertension, depression, and medicated-induced liver disease and pre-diabetic. This medicine helps manage the symptoms of psychosis, but it comes at a heavy cost. If I had known, or we had known, the dangers of these unregulated THC products, this might have prevented this might have prevented us being here today.
Did she
In the world of
rehearse this
cannabis-induced
beforehand?
psychosis,
Was she handed
we
the
as
script while
families,
she
we
walked in?
struggle to fight for our loved ones' well-being and put them back in the path of wellness. It's a dark, horror-filled war against unseen enemies. Delusions, hallucination, depression all become weapons of mass destruction. And unlike the ability we have to heal physical wounds, fixing mental ills of people is not easy. And many of the solutions require much trial and error. And unfortunately, many of our families or our children return back to cannabis to help regulate their feelings. I would urge Governor Abbott to please sign Senate Bill 3 for other children and for their health. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so cannabis psychosis is something that we obviously hearing him talk about a lot so far. So let's have a look and see what that's all about now. Now, it's an induced psychosis known as CIPD, right? It refers to a temporary psychotic episode that can occur after consuming the good herb. Okay, now, it says here that this condition is characterized by hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, and disorganized thinking or behavior, similar symptoms seen in psychotic disorders like schizophrenia. Now, comparing schizophrenia to someone who's just being high and feeling good is crazy to me. Now, I'm not saying that people have bad reactions when they consume herb, and it's not for everyone. Absolutely. I had a few homies that it just didn't agree with them. Like, he just didn't like it, you know? So I get that. I understand that. But to label it as some sort of disorder or some sort of psychosis that is really inhibiting you from doing anything and causing death, causing death? Like, really? Anyway, let's read on, okay? Here's a more detailed explanation, guys. Let's have a look at these symptoms, okay? These can include seeing or hearing, feeling things that aren't real, or hallucinations, okay? So, you know, you're really high, you thought you heard something. Oh, I thought I heard my chair just make a noise, but I didn't. Oh my God, I must be in psychosis. All right, holding false beliefs or delusions. So again, you can go down a rabbit hole with all types of conspiracy theories, all types of political views that different people have. You have to stay grounded. It's your responsibility as a human being and as an adult, but also as a parent if your child is underage. And a lot of these folks are talking about big horses. I'm talking about 25, 26, 27-year-old adults. These are big men and women. Come on. Anyway, so let's see what else they're talking about. Excessive suspicion or fear, paranoia. So some people get paro when they consume the good herb. I do sometimes. Like, I might be at home alone and I hear something knock on the door and I'm like, oh my God, who's that? What's going on? Is someone trying to break into my house? I get paro sometimes, but that's down to personal life experiences that I've had in the past. Not due to me just being blazed. Like, come on, man. I'm actually blazing up to try to relax. Anyway. And finally, another symptom is disorganized thoughts or speech. So some people blaze up and you put something somewhere and you forget you set it down. Or you're a little bit more disorganized than you are when you were at work earlier because you're at home and you're relaxing a little bit more. Now, me personally, this actually works the opposite for me, where I am a little bit more organized when I'm actually blazed up, or I'm a little bit more able to, say what I want to say, especially if I prepare beforehand, even if I medicate. Now, me personally, I went to law school and I hit up bowls right before my exams and I passed all my exams with honors. So, I mean, it really does boil down to the individual. So labeling this as something like that, I think it's really crazy. Now, let me know what you guys think about that. Let's scroll back to hear what else they got to say, because it's some really interesting stuff. And like I said, the Reefer Madness in 2025 does not stop there. So let's hear what this person's got to say.
My name is Ivana Ponte.
Hello, Ivana.
I'm here on behalf of...
Okay, she's reading her email from her phone, guys.
Citizens for a safe and healthy Texas.
Let's see what you got to say.
On behalf of HTC Youth Center. On behalf of my family, your family. My entire family has been deeply affected by hemp-derived THC products. My loved one was not underage when they began using poisonous substances. They went from being loving and kind member of our family to someone consumed by anger and violence, harming not only themselves, but others as well.
Again, another grown-up.
They ended up
talking about a grown-up
in the hospital multiple times with psychosis, and now faces astronomical and overwhelming medical bills. We were forced to sell our home and relocate and keep our address private from this loved one to avoid being terrorized in person. It is outrageous to hear that businesses are making billions
These stories are
of dollars
crazy.
at the expense of thousands of families like mine. You cannot regulate a predatory for-profit industry like this. They are turning people into addicts while enlarging their pockets. They are not generating new money. The money is already here in the state. It's the same money circulating, but now just going up in smoke.
Oh, there's the
I
point.
respectfully urge Governor Abbott to ban this poison and sign SB 3 into law. I ask you, Governor Abbott, for you, for your family, for ours, for your grandchildren, for our grandchildren. I could say, let's be a drug-free Texas. Well, we could start here. Thank you.
There are like 20 people up on this stage. There were like over 100,000 signatures delivered to Governor Abbott's desk. Man. And I would like to say also that these stories these guys are bringing, these personal sob stories, it's just heart-wrenching. It's meant to be heart-wrenching. It's meant to tug on your heartstrings. And that's just really sad that they're using these loved ones in those situations and using them as a prop to prop up this ban. It's absolutely crazy.
In Texas, I'm a parent of 3 children, and all of my children have attended the Katy ISD school district. So my story that I'm going to tell you is about what happens when the preteens and the adolescents get their hands on synthetic THC vapes.
Okay, before she tells her story, let me tell mine, right? Because I've learned from experience, when you're growing up and parents ban something, or even as you're an adult and they still don't like something and they don't like you doing it, you're still going to do it, but you're just going to hide it from them. And when they start to get a little bit more into what you're doing, trying to find out what's going on with you, why are you smelling like that? And you smell like you just blazed up, you smell like smoky and stuff. They're really just picking on you. You start to get frustrated. You're like, Mom, can you just leave me the F alone? Like, what's wrong? Well, like, okay, I'm blazing up, but it's legal in so many other states. Just leave me alone. And then they're like, oh my gosh, little Jimmy's going through psychosis. His behavior's completely changed. He used to be so loving, and now he doesn't want me around. I wonder why, Mom. Why does little Jimmy not want you around anymore? Because little Jimmy's no longer little Jimmy. He's big Jimmy, and he's trying to do his own thing. But anyway, let's hear about the effects on the preteens and adolescents that this lady's coming to enlighten us about.
My daughter was very well adjusted, very happy, no family history of any mental illness. In 9th grade, all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, she's having a panic
that's when I started
in her
smoking.
9th grade Spanish
9th
class.
grade.
Unbeknownst to me, she had started experimenting with the THC vapes and doing them on a fairly regular basis to alleviate her anxiety. This led to a cycle of depression, deepening the anxiety, deepening the depression, and one morning at 3 a.m., I simply got a text message from her, "Mommy, help me." I didn't get it till I woke up the next morning, and when I went to go ask her what she's talking about, she's telling me she's having suicidal thoughts and she can no longer control what's going on inside of her head. I immediately jumped into action like most parents do and sought the help of psychologists.
Is
for
your kid
a
on
professional
Instagram?
Diagnosis,
Social
of which,
media?
of course, was anxiety and depression.
A lot of those things
But
influence
she struggles
kids.
with breaking the addiction of using synthetic THC vapes.
And cause them to
That
feel
was
like
3
their
years
life
ago.
sucks compared
She
to
has
other people that they're
improved.
seeing
She went through
online. It's a
years of
constant comparison
psychologists on a
game.
weekly
Maybe get them
basis
off social media.
and treatment to help her manage her emotions. Where is she now? She's struggling still with breaking that addiction to the synthetic THC vapes. So I ask all of the media here, if you don't believe our stories as parents, go ask a Katy ISD administrator. Talk to the
Now,
principals
I'm not saying
of the high
synthetic
schools.
vapes are
Talk
legit.
to your junior highs.
I prefer
Ask
actually
the
that
teachers,
those synthetic
how many of
stuff
these
are
kids
not
are using
on the
synthetic
streets.
THC vapes, and what correlation does that
You only
make to
want
the increases
legit
in
stuff
anxiety,
from the
depression,
plant.
and suicide among our children right now? Our house is located directly across the street from a 6A high school. Within a 5-mile radius, there are at least 5 vape shops with their neon signs, free THC, come and get it. That doesn't even include the junior highs. So we're in one of the largest school districts in the state of Texas. Thousands and thousands of high school and junior high kids can simply walk across the street from their school and walk into one of these stores and get their hands on a sour gummy worm loaded with THC with potency levels that are not accurately marked, or go ahead and buy a synthetic THC cartridge. Go home and smoke that and share it with your friends and then see what it's doing to their mental well-being. So we're not lobbyists. We're not making money off this. We're just parents with kids that need a little bit of help from Governor Abbott. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bruna. We need the Governor Abbott to sign SB3 into law. I beg you for complete ban of all THC products. Our family has already paid the price financially and emotionally. We should not be negotiating people's health and lives. My son was friendly, big heart, gifted student, Taekwondo black belt, attending religious education, went to church weekly. We cherished memories on family vacations, camping with friends, Boy Scouts, caring, excellent student. His behavior changed after he started using THC. He was 14 years old. He could not finish high school, lost his childhood friends, and began to lie and withhold information from us. He stopped attending church with us, struggled to maintain simple conversations, and found it increasingly difficult to socialize or keep a job. His health deteriorated and lost weight. His once beautiful smile just disappeared. After using THC,
Are you sure that it's THC? Most people get the munchies and they can't stop eating.
My son became aggressive, not reasoning, not
When
able
you
to
do some of that
express
booger
himself.
sugar, you ain't eating nothing.
My husband and I had to hide kitchen knives and sleep with our bedroom door locked.
I sleep with my bedroom door
At that
locked
point,
every night.
Of course, I had to quit my job and my public health classes at UT. A few days before his first psychotic episode in February 14, 2024, he displayed signs of lethargy and took an unusually long time to respond to simple questions. Then he began hearing voices from our backyard. He ran out of the house barefoot without his driver's license. He drove on the wrong side of a major highway and was involved in not one, but two different separate car accidents. He thought he was bleeding to death, and he walked himself across the street to the Memorial Hermann. He was restrained by 5 police officers. No, he was not bleeding. He was still in psychosis. He thought he was dying. He didn't have anything from those 2 car accidents, but he thought he was bleeding, he was dying. And one time, I was so scared and frightened. He would walk with a big knife all over. And so I spent 4 nights in a hotel and leaving my husband to watch him back in the house. He grabbed my husband by the neck and told him he could kill him. December 2nd, 2024, he had another psychosis episode due to cannabis THC.
The heart-wrenching stories.
He said
that they
he
try
saw
to...
ghosts in our home, and he asked us to put him to sleep. He was aggressive. He punched huge holes in our walls. We had to call 911. He was sedated and was admitted a second time in the behavioral hospital in Houston. And this is followed by the 3rd rehab stay. I'm not going to share here costs. You can kind of imagine costs of all this. At that point, 2 hospitals, actually 2 rehabs denied because of his schizoaffective diagnosis that the doctor gave. So the 3rd rehab
Doctor diagnosed with schizo?
He's somewhat stable now, but he's in a sober living because of he's not still mentally there yet to secure a job and everything. We paid $2,000 for this sober living. And hopefully one day our family goes back to normal. Governor, I would sign SB 3, stop this nightmare from happening to other families.
Dude, it's hard to listen to some of these stuff without even knowing like the full facts of what's happening, and some parents have no idea what their kids are actually doing, especially when they're adults. They can be trying all types of different stuff. And they just blame it on THC because it sounds like the least scary thing to tell your parents about. Like, yeah, it was just weed, you know, and I'm in induced psychosis now. When in reality, it's something else. You were going through some serious withdrawals, but because you cannot tell your parents that, you're getting even more upset. So it may be that it's a constant cycle of trying to figure out exactly what the kids are really doing, and some parents who just don't know what their kids are actually doing.
24-year-old son was healthy, athletic.
How old?
THC. Our 24-year-old son was healthy, athletic, and successful, and began using synthetic THC vapes and other high-potency products that he purchased from a shop in Austin. Within months, he couldn't eat, he lost 40 pounds, he became paranoid, and he suffered a terrifying psychotic episode. We have no family history of mental illness. One night I had to lock myself in my room, afraid of my own son. He destroyed our kitchen. He took a corkscrew to our refrigerator, to all of our countertops. He thought people on X were coming to murder us, and he nearly confronted a neighbor at 2 a.m. At Seton downtown, the psych pods were filled with young people his age. all with cannabis-induced psychosis, something they told me that they were seeing regularly. I had no idea what it was until that night. Just Google high-potency THC and psychosis. The evidence is overwhelming. I did it when I got home that night, and this is what I found. The Atlantic, marijuana is too strong now. Literally the first sentence. What people turn to for fun and relaxation now triggers existential dread and paranoia. Yale School of Medicine, rising THC concentrations can pose health risks. NPR, highly potent weed has swept the market, raising concern about health risks. NBC News, high potency THC and psychotic disorders. And CNN, high potent weed creating marijuana addicts worldwide.
I don't trust nothing from CNN and ABC and none of that stuff.
The FDA says that 10 milligrams of THC can cause psychosis.
With the Reggie Bush.
So the vapes I found,
but 3,000
milligrams.
Stuff.
And 13 unknown chemicals when tested in a lab. I didn't realize, as many don't, that 1980s weed is 1.5% THC content. So this here, THCP, is 33 times stronger. So if we put that, it's the difference between one joint in 1980 and 33 joints from this.
Bro,
and if we all think that people aren't getting in their car and driving once they've done this, we're all pretty naive.
Lady, that's not how that shit works.
The $8 billion industry has had a chance to self-regulate, just like the toy, the food, the airline industries did before we had laws, but they haven't. They followed the big tobacco playbook, target the young, that's obvious, saturate the market, they're everywhere, and deny the harm. So many of them came to those hearings and they pretty much sat there in their testimonies, and many said that we were all lying. The industry is targeting teens. I've had friends who have since looked back at bank statements and found that their kids, minors in high school, were buying THC products from vape shops. The industry can say they don't sell to minors, but bank statements don't lie. On Highway 71 between 620 and Southwest Parkway, on the right side of the highway, you can see 3 vape shops. You can hit them within about 20 seconds. That's predatory. I posted our story on Facebook. It took me a while to do it. And within 30 minutes, friends of friends, strangers, had messaged me. One was a mom in the Lake Travis area that told me that her 19-year-old son in 2023 had been using cannabis. He would buy vapes, she would get rid of them, he would buy them again, and he ended his life.
Well, that's why Mom's frustrating the shit out of me,
another
bro.
is a single mom in Lakeway that told me today she is spending $4,500 a day
there's more to that story.
For rehab for her 19-year-old son.
They're trying to find an escape. They're trying to find a reason, trying to find an excuse, something or someone to blame.
Last
it's easy
night,
to blame the
I have a
faceless hemp
longtime
industry.
friend who lost her brother to suicide when he was 23. And she messaged me to let me know, to thank me for coming today, and told me, I'm glad you're standing up and saying something, because my brother was using cannabis and went in psychosis, and that's when he shot himself in the head.
Lol. Bro,
Governor Abbott.
These people are twisting this so much. Okay, and I'm not trying to discredit anyone or even laugh at people who are suffering from depression and stuff like that. I myself suffer from depression, and in the past, I also tried to take my own life. It's not something I like to talk about or I have talked about ever on this channel before, but it's definitely something that I could see myself thinking through and being like, okay, I'm going to smoke a J, I'm going to blaze up, I'm tired of this shit, and this is what I'm going to do. And that's probably what the people did, and now they're just going to blame it on the weed. Oh, he was high when he did it, so it's down to the weed. He did not want to leave this world, not because of what you guys were doing, how you guys were treating him, how society was treating him, maybe the increasing prices, the cost of living, cost of food, the fact that you can't find a job anywhere. There are thousands of reasons why people find it super difficult in this life. And to just blame it on weed is absolutely crazy to me. But let's keep rolling.
Please don't ignore the damage any longer. These products are not medicine. They are dangerous, they are intoxicating, and they are disguised as legal hemp. So earlier today, there was someone at the press conference that said, oh, people have warnings, they know the damage. There is only one county in the whole nation, McHenry in Illinois, that is required by their attorney general to post warning signs for psychosis, or that the FDA does not consider these approved for medicinal purposes. So I call BS on that. People are not warned. And this is another vape my son used. It is distributed out of South Carolina, has a California warning label, yet it's illegal in California. It talks about the chemicals, but they don't know what chemicals are in them, and half of the COAs, the certificates of analysis, have varied, who knows how to probably even read them, A, as a consumer, but B, some of them are not accurate, a lot aren't. And then it gives warnings. Nowhere in that warning does it talk about psychosis. And we're seeing it worldwide. There are families that are on a Facebook page that we're on, thousands and thousands, from as far as Australia, the UK, Germany, everywhere. And just this morning, 15 new families joined.
That doesn't mean that they have experienced anything like this. They're interested to find out what's going on. They hate weed
Governor
just
Abbott,
like you do. So
these products
I
are
can see
fueling
people joining
addiction.
those groups.
And frankly, it's consumer fraud, what we're seeing. Texans are counting on you, please, to
Again,
stand
kick
by
the
our
synthetic
the side of
stuff,
public
any of
health,
these vapes that have synthetic
safety,
unknown
and to protect
chemicals, get rid of those,
Texans.
regulate
Please
the
sign
industry,
SB3
regulate
into
the
law.
market. Don't crucify everyone who actually gets relief from this plant. It's absolutely crazy to me. Absolutely crazy.
Hello,
Here
my
we
name
got a
is
younger
Isabel
person
Richter,
now. Let's
and
hear
I'm
what
here to tell my
she's
story
got
in
to say.
support of Senate Bill 3. This is a personal topic for me and my family. My older brother was a healthy, successful 24-year-old
Okay,
with
so they
no
brought in
signs
a
or
younger
family
girl
history of mental
to speak
illness.
about her older brother.
Everything changed when he legally purchased a synthetic THC vape from a local vape smoke shop in Austin. Within just a few months, he began to isolate himself from family and friends
'Cause you
and
guys don't
suffered
like
a
the
severe
vapes.
psychotic break
So he's
that
like, I'm going to
required
do it away from you
hospitalization.
guys.
I watched my
I
older
don't know.
brother, my role
It's just all
model,
crazy to
who I
me,
would go to for advice many of the time, lose control of his mind, and saw my parents live in fear of their own son. None of us recognized or could make sense of what he was experiencing. It truly did not make sense. Doctors diagnosed him with cannabis-induced psychosis. They told us they're seeing a record number of otherwise healthy kids and adults suddenly becoming psychotic without any family history of mental illness. The only correlation is their use of synthetic THC. These products are not medicine. They are dangerous, highly concentrated, and addictive chemicals disguised as harmless. A single vape can contain thousands of milligrams of THC, along with unknown chemicals, no warning labels, and no dosage guidance. The FDA has stated that just 10 milligrams of THC can trigger psychosis. Yet here in Texas, we're allowing products with hundreds of times that amount to be sold legally at gas stations right next to candy and gum. These products are banned in states like Colorado and California,
She
where
definitely
marijuana
got this
is legal.
script handed to her,
Yet here
bro.
in Texas, synthetic THC
Everyone's
is
saying
sold
the same
freely and
thing, too.
marketed as a pleasant escape from reality or as a means of safe self-medicating. Nothing about these products is pleasant or safe.
There's like a little arrow saying,
Opponents of
throw up the
SB3 will
quotation
argue
marks.
that banning synthetic THC will hurt small businesses or restrict consumer choice. No business should profit off the permanent destruction of someone's brain. Opponents will also claim that adults should have the
welcome to
freedom
the
to
alcohol
choose.
industry.
But let me also be
What
clear.
about the food industry
No one
that
chooses
destroys our body,
psychosis.
kidneys, lungs, heart, all that fatty
As a young
foods
adult,
and
I have
shit,
seen
high
several
cholesterol.
people around me in their 20s with so much going for them become addicted to THC, become paranoid, and lose relationships and negatively impact their future. The lives of young Texans rest in the decision to pass this monumental piece of legislation. As journalists, I ask you to report on stories like the ones you have heard today so that people understand the real impact that this product has on the lives of Texans, our communities, and our families. Governor Abbott, I ask you to please sign SB3 into law. Thank you.
All right, let's see who's up next. Definitely seems like this guy's been waiting to speak. He's just been in the background smirking. They should have sent him out. Oh, he's a doctor, a family physician. Hear ye, hear ye. He prescribes tons of opioids and opiates. He makes money off of that. Probably how he affords that nice suit.
Diseases, a parent, a foster parent, and a veteran of the United States Air Force. I want to thank you all for being here.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Important matter of public health and safety. Imagine with me for a moment that we are not here today to blow the whistle on a lucrative product of the THC hemp industry, but one from Big Pharma. Imagine Big Pharma was making good for what ails you claims based mostly on anecdotes and customer testimonials. They have some studies which do show potential benefits in some limited settings, such as chemotherapy-induced vomiting and muscle spasticity in MS, but the studies on chronic pain are conflicting, with some studies showing no benefit above a placebo effect, and little prospective evidence that users of their products are able to reduce their opioid use.
There's sworn testimony from medical users,
reassures the
though.
public that their product is safe and natural, although it uses a variety of unpronounceable chemical processes to convert the natural plant into an alphabet
I cannot
soup
even
of
produce the
unlabeled
real
chemical
words of
compounds.
Tylenol. The ingredients in Tylenol, I
They
can't
brought
produce
their
that.
product to market without any of the usual side effect
Advil.
warnings, but if they were compelled, it might read something like
Double
this.
standard is ridiculous.
This product has been determined by the American Psychiatric Association to not be a treatment for any psychiatric condition and is strongly associated with the development of severe psychiatric disorders, including schizophrenia. Our product is now the #1 environmental factor in the development of schizophrenia and is responsible for an estimated 30% of all new cases in young adult men, our primary customers. The Veterans Administration does not recommend its use for treatment of PTSD, as it has the potential to worsen these symptoms long term.
Or because it's
This
federally
product
illegal
dramatically
still.
increases the risk of developing suicidal thoughts and suicide attempts. In states which have made this product available without a prescription, it has increased the rates of youth opioid overdose deaths. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services has determined that our product is the main substance implicated in child abuse and neglect fatalities. Our product is strongly associated with criminal behaviors and is known to increase the risk of violence, especially in youth and young adults. There have been numerous case reports of our customers committing random acts of mass violence, with victims including Texas churchgoers and elementary school students and their teachers. 1 in 3 users of our product will become addicted. Cases of uncontrolled vomiting leading to emergency room visits and hospitalizations are common and occasionally fatal.
You guys get what he's trying to do here, right? He's trying to sound like one of those big pharma ads that you guys hear on TV where they list tons and tons of side effects. So that's basically what he's trying to do right here. He's trying to say that if you consume anything, any products, with the good herb, you're going to have tons of side effects. You may go crazy at church and throw stuff. You may launch bottles at the grocery store windows. You may do all types of crazy stuff. Sounds like a bunch of propaganda BS to me.
Severe enough side effects to present to an emergency room are 50% more likely to develop dementia and 3 times more likely to die in the next 5 years than similar patients, even after adjusting for race, sex, income, and underlying mental and physical health
I have
conditions.
tons of family members who got dementia and
Our
they've
product
never
has been
consumed
proven to
herb.
cause damage to major blood vessels, which predispose our customers to heart attacks and strokes, regardless
Doc
of the
thinks he's
mechanism
clever.
of ingestion. Use of our product is associated with an increase in motor vehicle and pedestrian deaths, failure to graduate from high school or college, job absenteeism, decreased worker productivity, and homelessness.
Is that so? Okay.
States which have allowed our product to be mass marketed estimate spending more than $4 for every dollar taken in sales tax revenue in an attempt to mitigate the harms of our product. Now imagine that Big Pharma not only wants their product available under medical supervision, but also in more than 8,000 gas stations, smoke shops, and vending machines, despite the objection of major medical groups, including the Texas Medical Association, Texas Nurses Association,
Well, you
Texas
guys don't
Hospital
want it
Association,
eating into your
and Texas
profits.
Pediatric
And you're a
Society.
member of all those associations, Doc.
Now imagine Big Pharma was recruiting veterans and paying veterans groups to show for their products in an attempt to gaslight the public. Add to that the fact that they had already been caught routinely selling this product to underage customers who are at the most risk of harm. Now, in such a scenario, you would not have seen just this strong bipartisan vote in favor of Senate Bill 3. You would have seen a unanimous vote. Because if this were the pharmaceutical industry or any other industry, the news media would have done a much better job informing the public of all of these facts. The fact that there's still even a debate about this is a reflection of institutional failures. Doctors have failed to speak loudly and clearly enough about what the science clearly shows. The mainstream media has been slow to see through the THC industry smokescreen. It has failed to examine the industry's talking points with its usual skepticism, and has thus failed to warn the public of the proven risks. That failure has led to a bipartisan, anti-science, anti-health and safety online cacophony of false claims, misleading testimonials, and wild conspiracy theories. These have drowned out the medical evidence and now threatens our most vulnerable citizens. We all have to do better, because this is not a war against drugs, which regardless of which laws are enacted this session, we will always have with us. But it is a war against distortion, misinformation, and exploitation. And it is a war for science, public health, and our next generation. I encourage you to tell the rest of the THC story, and I encourage the governor to endorse the courageous leadership of the Texas House and Senate by signing Senate Bill 3.
See you, Doc. Now it looks like the final boss,
In closing,
Karen.
I want to give you an example. I don't advocate for alcohol use, but we've got to dispel all the deception from the hemp industry. If I take a shot of whiskey, I am going to become intoxicated. As long as I don't drink more, that intoxication will wear off within a few hours. If I take a hit of THC, I will become intoxicated and possibly psychotic. When that intoxication wears off from the THC, I can still be psychotic. That doesn't happen with a shot of alcohol. We must.
Yeah, you just go back and drink more alcohol and then go home and beat your wife.
A study just came out from Science Direct about Colorado in the Journal of Drug and Alcohol Dependence, volume 273. It concluded, psychosis-related hospitalizations rose modestly in Colorado after cannabis legalization. Higher rates of psychosis hospitalizations were observed among 21 to 29-year-olds. Psychosis encounters with a cannabis diagnosis increased significantly after legalization. Our families are offended and horrified that the hemp industry prefers their profits over the health and safety of Texans. Without this Senate Bill 3 being signed into law, Texas has essentially legalized unregulated recreational marijuana use. We, the families, have already paid a huge price financially and emotionally. We ask Governor Abbott to immediately sign SB 3 into law. Thank you for coming today. We are open for questions.
Wow, that was a tough watch, guys, and it felt like it was never ending, Reefer Madness in 2025. But let me know what you guys think about all that. I gave my thoughts throughout that video, but I'm interested to find out what you guys got to say. I'm mindful the video is already kind of long, so let's cut it there. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, and you guys may have missed it, but check out the other update that we gave on that Texas ban issue, because it's coming up right now.